My fiancée sat on her ex's lap and uploaded a post saying, "Miss the old days." In response, I put our engagement ring up for sale online. Everything blew up after that. My fiancée sat on her ex's lap and uploaded a post saying, "Miss the old days." I saw it before anyone else did. Her laugh frozen in the photograph, her hand resting casually on his shoulder, the engagement ring on my finger catching the sunlight like a cruel spotlight. The caption wasn't subtle. It was a dagger, polished and deliberate. My stomach sank, my pulse slowed in disbelief. But my hands didn't shake, they rested quietly on the table, holding my coffee as if nothing had happened. Around me the cafe buzzed with life, strangers unaware of the storm I was digesting in silence. A part of me wanted to scream, to throw the laptop across the room, but another part, the part I trusted most, calmed me, whispering that action didn't need noise to be devastating. I slid my phone into my pocket, already drafting the plan that would make her betrayal undeniable. I've always been the quiet one, the one who listened, watched, and waited. People assumed my calm meant weakness, that my patience was submission. My fiancée of all people had treated me like a backdrop to her life, laughter at my expense disguised as teasing, plans made without asking, moments shared with everyone but me. I grew up learning to observe the chaos others caused and survive it without raising my voice. My family called me dependable, friends called me steady. Alone, I called it invisible. In school, I was the kid who stayed late in the library while others claimed the spotlight. At work, my ideas were often credited to louder colleagues. I learned early that being underestimated wasn't a flaw, it was leverage. I could slip through cracks unnoticed, study patterns, and predict reactions. And in love, I gave everything quietly, trusting the promise of shared futures, until that trust shattered across my screen like splintered glass. Now, for the first time, that invisibility felt like armor. No one would see what came next. Not her, not him, not the world that thought I was harmless. She didn't stop at the photo. Over the next few days, I noticed the small cuts, the messages left unread, the accidental invitations she forwarded to him instead of me, the way she'd brush past me with that practiced smile that said, "I know something you don't." At dinner, she sipped her wine slowly, recounting stories from their past as if I were a chair she'd pulled up to. Their table. I nodded, silent, feeling each word land like a pinprick I refused to flinch from. When we went shopping for the wedding, she lingered on gifts he liked, asking my opinion only to dismiss it. Her laughter carried a shade too bright, eyes glancing toward him in memory or longing. I couldn't tell which. Friends commented on how easygoing I was, how lucky she was to have a patient partner, completely blind to the tension brewing beneath my calm exterior. I learned to move in measured silence, letting her arrogance hang in the air like smoke. Each glance, each casual slight fed a quiet fire inside me. I didn't need to confront her yet. The weight of what I had in mind would speak louder than any raised voice, and it would arrive unnoticed, devastating. The moment came quietly, without fanfare. I was folding laundry in our apartment, when her phone buzzed with another message from him. She laughed at it, tossing the phone onto the counter as if it were mine to ignore. That's when it hit me. I had tolerated every slight, every casual betrayal, waiting for her to realize what she had in me. But she never would. Not now, not ever. I stared at the engagement ring on my finger, its polished surface reflecting the dim light of the room, a symbol of commitment, of trust, of a future I thought we shared. And in that reflection, I saw my choice clearly. This wasn't about revenge that screamed. It was about precision, about showing her silently the weight of her disregard. I listed the ring for sale online, choosing a platform where it would be seen by the exact people who understood value and absence. No confrontation, no dramatic exit, just a quiet statement, a mirror to the betrayal she had flaunted. I didn't yell, I didn't cry. I simply hit post and walked away. The storm would come, but it would arrive on her terms, and she wouldn't see it coming. I didn't act on impulse. I sat at my desk with a notebook, mapping everything she had taken for granted: social patterns, mutual friends, financial entanglements, and the subtle ways she flaunted her disregard. Every detail became a tool. I reviewed our joint accounts, wedding vendors, and contracts, noting where control still rested with me. I wasn't interested in chaos. I wanted precision. My work experience in project management gave me an edge. I treated this like a professional operation. Timelines, contingencies, and clean execution mattered more than emotion. I drafted messages in advance, scheduled posts, and prepared responses that were factual, polite, and strategically public. No one would suspect my calm was deliberate. I also consulted quietly with a legal advisor about ownership and rights to shared property and social obligations. Everything I did would be bulletproof, defensible, and undeniable. Each move was calculated to expose the betrayal, without me ever raising my voice or compromising my integrity. By the time I took action, I was ready. Every piece fit into place like a machine built to run silently and efficiently. She would see the consequences of her choices unfold, and I would remain outside the drama, watching the truth land with perfect, inescapable clarity. I posted the engagement ring online just before noon. The listing was simple, high-resolution photos, exact specifications, no commentary. Within hours, notifications pinged like soft echoes in an empty room. Curious friends, mutual acquaintances, and distant relatives saw the ring, recognized its significance, and shared the listing without my involvement. She noticed first. Her phone buzzed constantly, every alert pulling her gaze. I watched from across the room as her confident composure faltered. Her laugh stuttered in messages, her casual smugness replaced by unease. Comments began to trickle in. Questions about why the ring was for sale, speculation about our relationship. Mutual friends reached out to me privately, offering quiet support, subtle confirmations of what she had denied. No confrontation, no shouting, no chaos, just the slow, undeniable realization settling across her face like a shadow she could not escape. The posts multiplied, the notifications grew, and her control slipped through her fingers. I sipped my coffee, calm, almost detached, watching the world recalibrate itself around truth. The silence I had preserved now spoke louder than any accusation could. My patience, my planning, my quiet precision, every underestimated moment had delivered satisfaction far sharper than any shouting ever could. The aftermath unfolded like a storm nobody had anticipated. Friends whispered, colleagues sent tentative messages, and social media buzzed with speculation. Her carefully curated image cracked, her charm, once unquestioned, now questioned openly. Mutual friends who had laughed at my patience approached me quietly, eyes wide with recognition. So this is what he saw all along. She tried to explain, first with defensiveness, then with apologies that felt hollow. Each attempt only revealed how thoroughly she had misjudged me. Her reputation, the effortless charisma she wielded like armor, was now vulnerable. Invitations she once controlled slipped from her grasp. People hesitated before assuming her narrative. For me, it wasn't triumph born of malice. It was reclamation. Reclaiming dignity, space, and the quiet authority that had been ignored. I realized that patience isn't weakness, it's a force. By staying calm, by planning with precision, I had protected my self-worth while letting truth carry its own weight. The lesson is simple and universal. The people who dismiss you rarely see the consequences coming, and sometimes the most powerful actions are the ones that arrive without noise. Those who witnessed it understood immediately why this mattered, and why silent, thoughtful action always speaks louder than rage. The quiet that followed was different from the stillness I had lived in before. This was earned silence, the kind that hums with satisfaction rather than emptiness. I walked through the apartment one last time, feeling the weight of the past lift with each measured step. Betrayal had tried to define me, but I had redefined the narrative, without shouting, without spectacle, without compromising who I was. In the days after, life returned to its rhythms, but with clarity. I focused on work, on friends who truly mattered, on the version of myself that had always been underestimated. I no longer carried the burden of needing her recognition. Instead, I had my own. The world had acknowledged it quietly but unmistakably, and that acknowledgement resonated louder than any confrontation ever could. I don't seek revenge anymore. I seek integrity, patience, and calm. The ring is gone, the betrayal acknowledged, and I am free. Some victories are loud, others arrive in silence, echoing in the hearts of those who watch. And sometimes, the quietest victory is the one that changes everything, because it is measured, inevitable, and utterly undeniable.